Jake was loading his truck after a double shift when he heard crying from the dumpster. Inside he found 6-year-old twins Emma and Ethan, dumped like trash by their stepfather. "Nobody wants us," Emma whispered. Jake's heart broke. "You're wrong," he said. "I want you." Everything changed that night. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Jake Morrison wiped the sweat from his forehead as he loaded another bag of construction debris into his truck. It was past midnight and he was exhausted from working a double shift, but the overtime money was worth it. As a single father to his 8-year-old son Tyler, every extra dollar counted. The divorce had been brutal. His ex-wife Linda had taken half of everything and moved across the country with her new boyfriend, leaving Jake to raise Tyler alone. Some nights, Jake barely had enough energy to make dinner, let alone help with homework and bedtime stories. But he wouldn't trade being Tyler's dad for anything in the world. Jake was about to drive away from the construction site when he heard something that made his blood freeze. Crying. Soft, desperate crying coming from the large dumpster behind the building. "Must be a cat," he muttered to himself, but something in his gut told him it was more than that. He grabbed his flashlight and climbed up to look into the dumpster. What he saw made him drop the flashlight in shock. 2 small children, no more than 6 years old, were huddled together among the garbage bags. They were identical twins, a boy and a girl, dirty and terrified, wearing nothing but torn pajamas. The little girl was trying to comfort her brother, who was crying quietly. "Oh my God," Jake whispered, immediately climbing into the dumpster. Hey, it's okay. I'm here to help." The children shrank back in fear, but Jake could see they were too weak to run. "I'm not going to hurt you," Jake said gently, the way he talked to Tyler when he had nightmares. "My name is Jake. What are your names?" The little girl looked at him with huge, frightened eyes. "I'm Emma," she whispered. "This is my brother Ethan." "Emma and Ethan," Jake repeated softly. "Those are beautiful names. How did you get here?" Emma's lip trembled. "Our stepfather brought us here. He said we were trash and nobody wanted us." Jake felt rage build in his chest. What kind of monster dumps children in a dumpster? "He's wrong," Jake said firmly. "You're not trash. You're precious and I'm going to take care of you." He carefully lifted both children out of the dumpster. They were so light, clearly malnourished and neglected. Emma immediately wrapped her arms around Ethan protectively, even though she was just as scared and hurt. "Are you going to take us back to him?" Ethan asked, speaking for the first time. "No," Jake said without hesitation. "I'm never going to let anyone hurt you again." Jake wrapped the twins in his work jacket and drove straight to the hospital. During the ride, Emma and Ethan told him pieces of their story. Their mother had died in a car accident 6 months ago. Their stepfather, who had never wanted children, saw them as a burden. He had been neglecting them for weeks, barely feeding them, leaving them alone for days at a time. "He said we cost too much money," Emma said quietly. "He said he was going to get rid of us." At the hospital, doctors confirmed Jake's worst fears. The twins were severely malnourished, dehydrated, and showed signs of neglect and emotional abuse. They were immediately admitted for treatment and observation. "Who are you to these children?" asked Dr. Sarah Kim, the pediatrician treating them. "I found them," Jake said. "In a dumpster. Their stepfather abandoned them." Dr. Kim's expression hardened. "We'll need to contact Child Protective Services. These children will need to be placed in emergency foster care." "What happens to them then?" Jake asked. "They'll be placed in the system. Hopefully they'll find a good foster family, but twins are harder to place together. They might be separated." Jake looked through the window at Emma and Ethan, who were holding hands even while sleeping. The idea of separating them made his heart ache. Can I apply to foster them?" Jake asked. Dr. Kim looked surprised. "Do you have experience with fostering?" "It's a complex process, especially for traumatized children." "I have a son," Jake said. "I know it won't be easy, but these kids need someone who cares about them. They need to stay together." The next few days were a whirlwind of paperwork, interviews, and home inspections. Child Protective Services had located the stepfather, who was arrested for child abandonment and endangerment. He showed no remorse, telling police that he never wanted those brats anyway. Jake visited the twins every day in the hospital. Slowly they began to trust him. Emma was the protector, always watching out for Ethan, who was more quiet and sensitive. Both children were incredibly intelligent despite their trauma. "Are you really going to be our new daddy?" Ethan asked one day. "I want to be," Jake said honestly. "But first you have to get better and then we have to make sure it's okay with everyone." Would you like that? Emma nodded seriously. We don't have anyone else. And you're nice to us. Jake's heart broke at how low the bar had been set for these children. Being nice was extraordinary to them because they had experienced so much cruelty. Tyler, Jake's son, was initially confused about why his dad was spending so much time at the hospital. Dad, who are those kids? Tyler asked. Jake sat down with his son and explained the situation carefully. I found 2 children who need help. They don't have parents to take care of them, and I want to help them find a safe home. Are they going to live with us? Tyler asked. Maybe. How would you feel about that? Tyler thought for a moment. Would they be my brother and sister? They could be, Jake said. That would be cool, Tyler decided. I always wanted siblings. The social worker, Mrs. Patterson, was impressed by Jake's dedication but concerned about the challenges. Mr. Morrison, you're a single father working construction. Adding 2 traumatized 6-year-olds to your household along with your own son is going to be incredibly difficult. Are you sure you're prepared for this? No, Jake said honestly. I'm not prepared. I'm terrified. But those kids have been through hell and they need someone to fight for them. I can't just walk away. Mrs. Patterson studied Jake's file. Your background check is clean, your home inspection passed, and your son seems well adjusted. The twins have specifically asked for you in every interview we've conducted. Against my better judgment, I'm going to recommend temporary foster placement. What do I need to do? Jake asked. Be patient. Be consistent. Get them into therapy. And understand that this is going to test you in ways you can't imagine. Jake brought Emma and Ethan home on a sunny Tuesday morning. His small 3-bedroom house suddenly felt full in the best possible way. He had bought bunk beds for the twins and filled their room with toys and books. Emma and Ethan stood in the doorway of their new room, hardly believing it was real. This is ours. Emma whispered. This is yours, Jake confirmed. You don't have to share with anyone and nobody can take it away from you. The first few weeks were challenging. The twins had nightmares every night. They hoarded food under their beds, terrified it would be taken away. They jumped at loud noises and flinched when Jake moved too quickly. But slowly, with patience and love, they began to heal. Tyler was an amazing big brother, including Emma and Ethan in everything he did. He taught them how to ride bikes, helped them with simple homework, and made them laugh with silly jokes. They're not scary anymore, Tyler told Jake one evening. They just needed someone to be nice to them. Jake enrolled the twins in therapy and worked with their counselor to understand their needs. He learned about trauma responses, attachment issues, and how to create a sense of safety for children who had never experienced it. The breakthrough came 3 months later. Jake was making breakfast when he heard Ethan laugh, really laugh, for the first time. Tyler was making faces and acting silly, and both twins were giggling uncontrollably. Dad, look. I made them happy, Tyler announced proudly. Jake felt tears in his eyes as he watched his 3 children together. This was what family looked like. The adoption process took over a year. There were court hearings, evaluations, and mountains of paperwork. The stepfather tried to fight it from prison, claiming he had rights to the children, but his parental rights were terminated due to abandonment and abuse. Finally, the day came for the final adoption hearing. Judge Martinez reviewed all the documents and interviewed each family member separately. Emma and Ethan, the judge said gently, do you want Jake Morrison to be your forever father? Yes, Emma said firmly. He saved us. Yes, Ethan agreed. He makes us feel safe. Tyler, how do you feel about Emma and Ethan becoming your brother and sister legally? They already are my brother and sister, Tyler said matter-of-factly. This just makes it official. Judge Martinez smiled. Mr. Morrison, I've been presiding over adoption cases for 15 years. I've rarely seen such a clear example of a family that was meant to be together. These children have thrived under your care in ways that frankly surprised our entire team of social workers. Jake held his breath. I'm proud to grant this adoption. Emma and Ethan Morrison, welcome to your forever family. The courtroom erupted in cheers. Emma and Ethan ran to Jake, hugging him tight while Tyler jumped up and down with excitement. We're really Morrisons now? Emma asked. You're really Morrisons now, Jake confirmed. Forever and always. 5 years later, Jake stood in the audience of the elementary school auditorium, watching his 3 children perform in the school play. Emma was the lead actress, confident and articulate. Ethan played the piano accompaniment, his natural musical talent having emerged once he felt safe enough to explore his interests. Tyler was the stage manager, organizing everything with the leadership skills that had always made him a natural big brother. Jake thought back to that night when he found two terrified children in a dumpster. The doctors had warned him that the twins might have lasting developmental delays from their early trauma. Social workers had cautioned that their behavioral problems might be severe and permanent. They had all been wrong. With love, stability, and patience, Emma and Ethan had not only recovered but thrived. Emma was at the top of her class and wanted to become a lawyer, to help kids like we used to be. Ethan was a gifted musician and artist who brought joy to everyone around him. The family Jake had never planned had become the greatest blessing of his life. After the play, the principal approached Jake. "Mr. Morrison, I wanted to speak with you about Emma and Ethan." Jake's heart sank. Even after all these years, he sometimes worried that something would go wrong. "Is there a problem?" he asked. "Quite the opposite," the principal smiled. "Their teacher wanted me to tell you that in her 25 years of teaching, she's never seen children who are more compassionate, resilient, and kind. Whatever you're doing at home, keep doing it." That night, as Jake tucked his 3 children into bed, Emma looked up at him with serious eyes. "Daddy, do you ever wish you hadn't found us that night?" Jake sat down on her bed. "Emma, finding you and Ethan was the best thing that ever happened to our family. You two didn't just join our family, you completed it." "Even though we were broken?" Ethan asked from the top bunk. "You were never broken," Jake said firmly. "You were hurt and you were scared, but you were never broken. You just needed love to help you heal." "Like how you fix things at work?" Tyler asked from the doorway. Jake smiled. "Exactly like that. Sometimes the most beautiful things come from pieces that other people threw away." 10 years after the adoption, Emma graduated as valedictorian of her high school class. In her speech, she talked about second chances and the power of love to transform lives. "10 years ago, my brother and I were discarded like trash by someone who was supposed to protect us," she said to the packed auditorium. "We could have become statistics, examples of what happens to unwanted children. Instead, we became proof that every child deserves love, that families can be built from the most unlikely circumstances, and that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear work boots and have calloused hands and hearts big enough to save children they've never met." She looked directly at Jake in the audience. "Dad, you didn't just save our lives that night. You gave us a future, a family, and the knowledge that we matter. Ethan and I are going to spend our lives making sure other children know they matter too." Ethan, now an accomplished musician, had been accepted to Juilliard with a full scholarship. Tyler was studying social work, inspired by his sibling's story to help other children in the system. As Jake watched his 3 children, now young adults, he marveled at how one moment of choosing to investigate crying in a dumpster had changed all their lives forever. The stepfather who had abandoned Emma and Ethan died in prison, forgotten and unmourned. But the children he had thrown away had grown into remarkable young people who would touch countless lives with their compassion and strength. Jake had learned that sometimes the most broken things can become the most beautiful when they're given love and care. Sometimes what others see as trash is actually treasure waiting to be discovered. The twins he had found in a dumpster, scared and abandoned, had indeed become his miracle. But he had become their miracle too. And the ripple effects of that one night of compassion would continue for generations, as Emma and Ethan carried forward the love they had received, proving that every child deserves to be saved, to be cherished, and to know that they are precious beyond measure. In the end, Jake Morrison had set out to rescue 2 children and ended up being rescued himself, by the joy of watching broken hearts heal, by the privilege of being called Dad by children who had every reason not to trust adults, and by the daily miracle of a family that was born not from biology but from love.